Yo, y'all know what it is. Welcome back to Tremonte and Friends Boxing. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we're going to get right into it. How great was Triple G in reality? Gennady Golovkin, whose prominence is really losing to Canelo twice and giving Canelo a fight. I actually think Gennady won the first fight with him and Canelo, just to be fair. I think the two fights afterwards, I think he got beat. But the first one, I think he clearly won. I don't know how it was a draw. I mean, I know how. You know how. But how great was he in totality? Gennady Golovkin doesn't have a resume that jumps off the page to you. He beat some notable fighters. He beat Daniel Jacobs. He beat David Lemieux. Obviously, the aforementioned fights with Canelo. He beat a few fighters who, he beat Kell Brook, but Kell Brook is not a 160-pounder. And he didn't have a lot of resistance throughout his career. What do I mean by resistance? He didn't face a lot of people who you thought would beat him, aside from Canelo. And even with Canelo at first, you're like, Triple G might, and in my opinion, he did beat Canelo. He might beat Canelo. And I think that legendary fighters in boxing and boxing history, or just combat sports in general, you need to fight people. It's not about how many fights you had, it's who you fought. And when did you fight them? What state of mind were they in? What was going on at the time? And a lot of people say Triple G had like a really easy path. I wouldn't say it was easy. What I will say, it wasn't as tough as it could have been. And then when he fought Canelo the last time, it was at 168. So it wasn't like he fought the majority of his career at 160, like Marvin Hagler did. That's a fantasy matchup, like Marvin Hagler versus Triple G, both in their primes. But that's what the video is basically about. Like Triple G, we know him for losing twice to Canelo. But you can't look at his resume and say, like, he beat a lot of names. And names aren't everything, because, again, it's the quality of when you fought them. Context does matter. But even with context with Triple G, his resume has a lot left to be desired. He's an excellent fighter. Excellent fighter. One of the all-time chins in boxing history. Never really been noticeably hurt ever. And he's a gentleman. He's a gentleman. He carried himself, no drama with him. He come to fight, straight up and down fighter. His defense was his offense. Rarely ever got pushed back by anybody. Give one to take one. A lot of good fundamentals, though. A lot of nuance to his game. But, what you see is what you get with Triple G. And I think looking back on his career, you don't want to have revisionist history. I'm like, man, he could have did a little more. And I love his style of fighting. And I love how he attacked his opponents from, the starting bell. And Triple G is one of those fighters. When he got you hurt, he's going to get you up out of there. The difference is when you fight somebody who's not scared of you and they really want to fight you, like Daniel Jacobs. He couldn't knock Daniel Jacobs out. When you fight Canelo and he hit Canelo as hard as he could with a clean punch, and Canelo was like, that ain't going to cut it, my boy. You have to keep coming with it. I wonder if he had more of those opponents, those types of opponents throughout his career, would he have still only ended up with 2 losses? Would he have lost more? Or would he have rose to the occasion and showed us that he is who he says he is? Again, there were talks that he, I don't want to use the word duck, but he may have avoided Andre Ward. But I don't know. I don't generally think fighters are scared of other fighters, but I do think fighters know when they're potentially up against somebody who could beat them, and they don't want to immediately jump into the fight or take the risk. Am I saying Triple G was like that? Nah, he don't strike me as somebody who's scared of anything, but also, I don't know who his handlers are. So, What do y'all think? What do y'all think Triple G ranks in the class of 160 pounders, since that's where he fought his career? How do you think he would do if he fought Marvin Hagler in his prime? Do you think you guys think he won the first Canelo fight? How do you view him as an overall fighter? I think he'll be forgotten, unfortunately. I think he'll be forgotten, as history moves on, because it's just the quality of fighters. I'm not saying that Triple G isn't a Hall of Famer or nothing like that. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. But because there are lesser fighters in the Hall of Fame than Triple G. But he could have did a little more to cement his status of, he was viewed as a boogeyman amongst boxing purists and analysts. But I want to know what y'all think. Subscribe to the channel, man. I'm going to get on here. I'm going to talk about boxing. I'm going to talk about fighters, mythical fights. I'm going to talk about people's careers. I'm going to keep it all boxing. I try not to take clips from other YouTubers. They take clips and they infuse them in their videos. But I don't want to get flagged. I don't want to have to go through all of that. I just want to get on here and talk to y'all, and then, hopefully y'all talk back. I value everyone's opinion, whether you're a boxing casual or you're just somebody who likes to see good fights. But let me know what y'all think, because that's always the most important. Never me, always us. I'll get with y'all soon. Peace.